A Cuppa Joe Nintendo is powered by the You, Me, and Capri Patreon. We want to say thank you to some people, starting with our Diamond Executive Producer, Slimer Snarf, our Platinum Producer, Robbie Bobby Miller, and then to our Gold level patrons like James Johnson, Ryan Turford, Egg Shen, Nasty Boots and Tammy, Joel Brooks, and Jonathan Brown. Thank you everyone for all of your support.
Sean, I got a question for you.
Yeah, man.
I'm kind of curious about something. How old were you when you realized that, like, video games were important to your life? Like, important to your life. Not just, like, something you did, but you realized that, like, it mean, like, you have to do this. This is something that you have to do on the normal just to, like, you know, live.
Yeah. I think I've got, like, if I can, I've got two answers real quick. Yeah. The first time that I realized, like, how obsessed with video games that I was when we were watching a World Cup when I was a kid, at a neighbor's house down the street. There's a couple of Italian families who owned the houses next door to each other. It was like very classic, like mom and dad, like, were on one house and then their kids were on the house next door. And my dad and I went over to watch some soccer with them. And I noticed, like, I just lasered in. I'd never been to this house before, and I lasered in on their NES that was sitting on top of the TV. I'm like, so when are we gonna stop watching soccer and play that? Like, I have zero interest in what we're doing here, and all I could think about was, like, so when somebody gonna mention that? But I was too shy to say anything, and so that's a memory that I have for sure of, like, not caring at all what else was going on. I just wanted to play this thing. But when I realized it was, like, important, like, was really through, like, was through all the podcasting and realizing that it's okay to just obsess about it and talk about, like, the value of it and like the artistic value and that it's not just a waste of time. Even if it is a waste of time, that's not a waste of time. That there's value in that. So it was later in life for sure, probably like 28, 29, something like that.
Yeah, I think I have two similar, probably not similar stories, but two stories, or two times that I recognized it. I think the first time I recognized it, I think I was about 16, I believe, maybe 15 to 16, somewhere in there. And I remember playing Final Fantasy 3 on the Super Nintendo at the time, so it was called Final Fantasy 3, but it's actually Final Fantasy 6. I had a big TV, like a floor model TV, in my room. And I had a beanbag chair, right? So I had the beanbag chair, and I'm sitting there, so I'm eye level with the TV. And then I had a little mini TV, a smaller TV, up on top of the big TV. And I'm watching, like, football or television. Like, I had it muted, but it was on. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm like, this is the life. Like, I realized at that point, I was like, I wish I could do this all the time. This is it. And then the other time was I was in my 30s. And we were getting ready to move into the Wii era. And we were getting ready to move into the PS3 era. And the PS3 was astronomically priced. And I was never an Xbox gamer, ever. And so I didn't even consider that at all. But, like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I really can't afford a PS3 at this point in my life.
Yeah.
And
you didn't have a second job.
No. And I'm like, I don't want to mess with a Wii because I didn't like the whole motion control nonsense. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm just too old to play games. Like, maybe it's time to grow up and be an adult now. And, like, this is where we transition to be an adult. And then that's when I started dating my ex-wife. And she was just like, what are you talking about? Like, of course you could play video games. Of course,
yeah,
like,
I love that.
Why would you not? And I was just like, it makes sense. And then I started to start playing video games again. But do you ever find yourself trying to recapture your youth in terms of, like, or do you ever sit there and feel yourself going like, man, my 10-year-old self or my 15-year-old self would be like freaking out right now if they could see what they're going to be doing in the future?
Yeah, I mean, with Lincoln discovering games right now, I feel like I'm able to do that, and except that I cry every single time that, you know, something amazing happens. He's discovering Super Mario Sunshine right now, which is just like, it's just crazy, man. Every week it's like something new, and but it's funny because I never had that. I never had the separation, like the willful like maybe a little bit in high school, but still, like I was a huge dork in high school, but sort of a closeted dork in high school. But I was still playing games, man.
Yeah.
I was playing games the entire time.
Yeah.
But dude, like this whole Super Mario Maker 2 update has me rediscovering and thinking about like what makes Mario levels special and the world maker that people have now. And I played with it for like 5 seconds, and I'm like, I'm just not a builder. I wish I was a builder, but I'm playing some people's worlds, man, and it's special. Like it reminds me of the old days, but it's crisp.
Listen,
and weird.
By the way, there was a long time ago I used to listen to this podcast called If We Ran Nintendo, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember somebody
You listened to that?
on that show absolutely calling for a world builder and
I
saying
know.
it had to be in there.
I know.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
It is amazing.
Maybe somebody from Nintendo listens to If We Ran or listened to If We Ran Nintendo.
I think they were calling for that like with the original Mario Maker, not even Mario Maker 2. I think that was the Wii U one.
This is true.
I think it's going back a ways,
This
man.
is true as well. But
Dude,
but for
what
me,
an unexpected thing, though.
Yeah, I know. But for me, like, I think back to, like, I remember when, during the Wii U era, Mario Kart was getting ready to come out. Mario Kart 8 was getting ready to come out.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to work, and I took, like, 2 days off of work.
Yeah.
And so, or no, I took one day. I took a Friday off. And then I come home from work Thursday, and I immediately go to bed. Like, walk in the door.
So you can get up early.
Tell Tony, like, I'll see you at midnight.
Yeah.
I wake up at, like, 11:45.
Oh my god, I love it.
Go downstairs, make a cup of coffee, and then I start downloading at midnight Mario Kart 8. It took me 4 hours to download.
Mm-hmm.
It was so bad. The download time was just because everybody was trying to get it at once, so it was just killing the servers. And then I spent the entire weekend. I put 35 hours in the first weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember at one point she comes downstairs, she says, "Is this all we're going to do all weekend?" And I'm like, "Whoa. I specifically told you well in advance, this is all I'm going to do.
So,
this
yes.
is it. So you got it, baby. This is it."
Yeah.
And,
you know what, though? I think like that multiplayer thing is the hardest thing to recapture, though. Like when you talk about going back and like it's at four kids or even more and you're passing controller around. You got like you got this pop and the chips and everything, like pop and chips and parents' parties, or like that was the best, dude. Sitting down in somebody's basement. Shout out to Chance.
Me and my best friend, we used to every day. He'd come over right after school. We'd save our lunch money, like we wouldn't spend our lunch money, and we would walk to the store, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the store was about 2 miles away, right?
Yeah.
We'd walk to the store. We go in there. One of us would buy like a bunch of Suzy Q's, which is a cake.
Yeah,
It's a chocolate cake, cream filled, white. Oh, it was amazing. But one of us would buy a bunch of that, and the other one would buy like 2 1-liter bottles of like grape soda or orange soda, right?
A liter bottle.
Liter.
I'm
bottle.
amazed.
Liter
Yeah.
bottle,
Wow.
But
Liter.
it was like it was weird because it was like this. It was like basically like the store's version of it, right? And then we would go home, and we would go back to the house, just chilling out, eating our Suzy Q's and drinking our soda, and like playing Nintendo. And it would be like we'd be playing like Baseball Stars or Dragon Quest, or Dragon Warrior.
You played that with a lot of people sitting around? Dragon Warrior, Dragon Quest? Like it's so
that was just
like,
me and my buddy. So what would happen is we would take turns. We would play and we both had save files that we were doing, and we would play for an hour. I would play for an hour, and then I would shut down, and then he would play for an hour. And basically the hour was just grinding. That's all you did. You just ran around in circles fighting enemies. It was so dumb. I don't know why that game picked. And honestly, that's why Final Fantasy beat it so bad, because Dragon Warrior, Dragon Quest games were just grind fests back then.
Yeah.
But like Final Fantasy was like, hey, you had to grind a little bit, but like the story kept progressing, and the stories were fantastic, and the music was fantastic, but like it was just so good. But yeah, man, I think back to that time, and I'm like, this is just, you can't recapture. So like for me, like when I took the week off of work for Animal Crossing, That was absolutely me recapturing my
no
youth.
kidding.
Because I'm
No
like,
kidding.
I got nothing to do. I got no school. We're just going to hang out and play Animal Crossing. It was
Yeah,
the
dude.
best, man.
You know, my brothers are very much still into like old school Nintendo. Like my younger brother plays Mario 3 all the time. Like he was the one who showed me like the coin ship. I didn't even like the airship. I didn't know that was a thing until like well after 30 years old when my brother showed me, because he's completely obsessed with the Super Nintendo era.
Yeah.
And my older brother, like this is why I talk about UN Squadron all the time, because my brothers are still playing it.
Yeah.
And they talk about like they basically speedrun the game. So like a lot of like reliving the old times was like, how do we get back to feeling like we're renting the Super Nintendo from the Blockbuster, playing NCAA basketball for some reason? Like we have zero connection to these colleges.
Yeah.
Right. But what is it? The Georgia State Bulldogs? Is that them?
Yeah.
That was the team, man. We like the Bulldog. I like the little icon. I don't know.
So here's something funny, right? Last night, I don't feel like streaming.
Yeah.
But I want to hang out with some people, and I'm like, hey guys, I'm gonna jump into a voice chat.
Nice.
And we're just gonna play some Animal Crossing. So if anybody wants to jump in and hang out and stuff, we can. So like, Adolf pops in, Spoopy and Slimer and Faith and Sparkle and Joel Brooks, and we're all just hanging out for a real long time. And Spoopy says to me, I can't believe that Sean's not playing Animal Crossing. And I go, eventually, she's like, eventually he's going to play, right? I'm like, Sean will never play this game. And she's like, why? And I was like, Sean is the most stubborn man that you will ever meet in your life.
Not the most.
Yes, you are. I said, because he said on a podcast that he would never play the game because of a specific reason, and he'll feel like such a hypocrite if he goes against that. And he also knows that I will break his stones if he does go against it, and that's the last thing he wants. So I said, he is not playing it. So she goes, I think he's playing it. He's just not telling anybody.
You imagine?
Could you imagine if somebody...
How would I do that, though? How would I fake... Like, so much of it is the social part of it, of, like, going to somebody else's island and, like, getting their fruit or whatever.
Just go to Chelsea's. You and Chelsea can play together.
Way. There's no way.
Could you
There's
imagine?
no way.
Could you imagine?
Holy cow! Let me say this, man. What a game to make such statements about, right?
Mm-hmm.
The game that sets records, the game that is like it's better than any other Mario or Zelda game, sitting behind the other Smash Brothers games in the first month. The game that launches the Nintendo Switch to its best month since it launched.
Yeah.
For God's sake! And I'm the one going, I'm voting with my wallet.
Yeah.
I'm not going to play.
You also did that with the Switch, and I think that's the problem. You did that with the Switch, and I broke your stone so bad after you caved that I think that you're just like, I don't want to relive that. I don't want to relive that again.
I really don't. And so, for clarity, I bought it day one. I wasn't. It was just I wanted more than one. Look, 1-2 Switch looked like trash, and they came up with this Project Octopath Traveler, which, by the way, people should look up when. I mean, great game, obviously. Yeah. But when they launched that game, all I could think about was have you ever seen like when Colin Moriarty was still kind of funny back then?
Yeah.
And his reaction to Project Octopath Traveler is the best, dude. I eat a lot of crow, okay?
I love feeding it to you. So here's the thing.
Donnie's doing the same thing too, because Donnie was the one who said. And Donnie and I are going back and forth almost in like podcast form. We're talking to each other in podcast form, and because I was like, Ocarina of Time is overrated, and we could get into that. But also he was saying that Animal Crossing isn't a top tier franchise. He
did say that, and man,
but now he's acknowledging. He's like, man, what am I supposed to say now?
Here's something that's amazing to me, and I'm the type of person that like I feel so. I'm going half glass full in this occasion, and people are going half glass empty, I guess. That would be the scenario. So, Nintendo basically it comes out that this game is the top 3 physical copy game ever for Nintendo. Ever for Nintendo, right?
That actually doesn't even make sense. Like, it sounds wrong.
It
like,
sounds
not
crazy.
Because it just sounds like, have we missed something? Like, did we carry a 1 incorrectly or something like that? Like, is the math right?
Here's the thing, right? People are like, well, that's because of the pandemic, right? And that's why people are playing this game, and that's why it's doing so big. And I would like to be the person that goes the opposite way. I want to say that it would have sold more copies if it wasn't for the pandemic. A week after this game launches, they shut down stores. You can't go to GameStop. You can't go to Best Buy. You can't go, you know what I mean? Like, so you're only buying from certain stores that are absolutely sold out. You can't get them from them stores. So I feel like if this didn't happen, it would have been the #1 game. Now, I might be wrong, but I just feel like this is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
It is tricky, but it also kind of like, it gives you a sense of why GameStop might have did what they did, right? And I was very much on the side of like, I don't know the numbers, I don't know the behind the scenes, but like, they're barely just hanging on. They're just trying to survive.
And this is a game that probably could have kept them afloat big time.
But it probably, for staying open that day, everybody made such a big deal about like Doom and Animal Crossing coming out on this day, and they're like, we gotta stay open for like. I mean, it kind of makes sense now, doesn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely makes sense. I mean, money. Listen, when you're a company like that, money's always the most important thing, and that's just that's the world that they live in, and that's
I'm not excusing like the whole like what they said to like they shouldn't be standing up to cops and all of that kind of stuff. I'm just saying that kind of gives you a bit of a sense of how important they would have seen the pre-order data.
Oh yeah,
right? Like they would have had firsthand.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I and not only that, like Japan's numbers are huge. Like it's the #1 selling game in Japan. Like they're looking at like physical copies, digital copies. Like we don't have official numbers. I can't wait until Nintendo hits the next investors meetings. Yeah, because I think people are going to be like, I can't believe this game did this. Like, right, this is unbelievable how big this game is, and I am floored.
And how does it not have a Switch Lite version? How does it not have? Like,
I think
it's coming.
Well, the thing too is, I think also that does have a little bit to do with the pandemic. I think that there was going to be things. I think there was going to be things.
Well, that would have been done.
Well,
actually, no, maybe not. Yeah,
I think it would have been done in Christmas. I think that would have been the push for Christmas. Is be like, hey, get this and this. They did the right thing with the full-blown Switch model. They did the right thing with that. Yeah. Nintendo's notorious for following up. Like, there's 3 versions of an Animal Crossing for the 3DS. Between the 2DS and the 3DS. So, I can see them easily going, like, come holiday time, going like, hey, you love Animal Crossing, here's a brand new Switch Lite for you. And because the thing is I also believe they were going to reissue Amiibo cards. And I think because when the factories went down, it kind of threw a kink in everything. Yeah. You know, like, it just messed up a lot of stuff that I think were in the, not just for Nintendo, for all gaming companies. Yeah. You know, it just threw a kink in there that just messed up the transition for a lot of companies. And I think that, you know, it's like even the strategy guide, Sean, the strategy guide was supposed to launch day 1. I now have a notification from Amazon saying that, like, we don't know when we're shipping it.
Seriously.
It's crazy, dude.
Oh, that sucks, man.
Yeah, like, it's, you know.
That really sets the foundation for so many people. And there's, like, I used to work at, like, you know, Canada Best Buy called Future Shop. Yeah. And there's this time limit, like, a surprisingly short time period where those, like, strategy guides got chopped down in price and in cost. So at a certain point in time, very, very soon after, actually, the game would have launched, you could go in there and the cost was like a penny. Yeah. So you could staff purchase it for 2 cents essentially. Yeah. Which was crazy.
And for me, I just want it because, you know, there's so much new. I like to get the knowledge. I like to
I love that strategy guide. We have it for New Leaf, man. That thing is amazing.
Not only that, like, I used to use it to keep track of, like, what fossils did you catch? What fish did you catch? Where are they available? It's just something that's
you're actually making notes in it?
Oh, yeah. I used to write in it and check mark and all that because there's actually check boxes in it. There's check boxes to be like, and they even went as far as to go like, here's checkbox for player 1, here's checkbox for player 2, here's checkbox for player 3 and 4. So me and Tony, we'd buy 1, like for New Leaf we had 1, and then like I was player 1, she was player 4. So this way we kept it separate and nobody filled in the wrong boxes.
Amazing, yeah.
And like, these are the fish I have, and these.
Even though you had to buy your own copies, they were like, okay, well, you don't have to buy your own copy of the strategy guide.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Cool. Very consumer friendly. Yeah, very.
That was that was Prima. That wasn't Nintendo.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. It is a little like, it's, I don't know what the word is. It's a little scary. The pandemonium about it is just a little like, okay, I don't know what to deal with this. It's a lot of noise. Yeah. So as much as a stubborn person I am, I'm also very bad in crowds, Bobby. Yeah. Like you and I one-on-one, we hang out, it's great. If we haven't really hung out in like a setting of like 6 or 7 people, I'm like, I'm gonna hang out over here. I'm totally cool. You guys have your fun, you have your conversation or whatever. I'm kind of good. This is like on just a giant scale of that. I'm like, I don't know how I squeeze into. If it's like the circle at the playground, everybody's sitting there talking or whatever. I'm like, that looks like a pretty well formed circle over there. I don't want to throw it off, make it oblong or anything like that. I'm good.
I am so in love with this game. It's like I literally I'm up over 200 hours now. I'm playing every day. I'm playing it like it's day one every day.
Yeah.
And it's, dude, the updates that they just threw in here totally make it like
the wedding stuff makes me laugh so hard.
Oh,
dude.
That's just
coming
funny.
up in
That's so
June or something.
June, yeah, wedding season.
Like, of course, there's gonna be a wedding season.
That's amazing, dude. But
go ahead.
The thing is like, it makes me excited because we now see Nintendo's long-term strategy.
Oh yeah,
and we're just gonna pepper this thing just like Splatoon 2, where we're just gonna hit you where every couple of months we're gonna give you more stuff to do and all that. And I'm like, this is amazing.
Do you think that there's like a miss on the merch side though? Like, there's nothing to buy. Like, doesn't it seem like wouldn't it be great to have Amiibo again,
well,
or
of course, but
or
you
something?
Can't, but the problem is that
I mean, you can't physical,
you can't do stuff right now. We can't go buy stuff from the stores. We can't do any of that. It's real weird, man. The whole situation is very strange to me, and you know, we're living in a time that's just very like off the pages. Like, it's never happened.
You think that they would just they would pivot immediately. They see this and then they go, okay, what else can we do? And they're just completely hamstrung.
Here's the thing. Nintendo looks at it like, I believe Nintendo looks at this and goes, look at the prices going on right now on eBay. We're missing money. Let's do something. Like, listen, when the Amiibo craze first happened, you couldn't get them. They were selling through the roof on. And Iwata at the time came out and said, please, just be patient. We are planning to reissue. And it took a little bit of time, but they did. All those ones came and to the point where people were so mad because it killed the story. Like, people acted like because they put it out there for more people that it ruined the whole thing. And that's just people that are just greedy and just want to be the only one that has something. But like, I was like, this is awesome that they're putting all this out. Like, all these people that are complaining they couldn't get one, go get one now. Like, it's there, you know? So I think that they definitely would have been like, I think
to a degree, I get people being upset because like there were certain ones where like you bent your back to go get like Marth, for example, or Pit or Dark Pit or whoever it was. Like, there were some of those that like I remember like walking, because this is so long ago. I remember like taking the bus and getting off at a stop, and I had to walk forever to meet this dude to buy his Marth or whichever one it was.
Yeah,
and I'm like, and then once it became available, I'm like, well, that was kind of a waste.
No, it wasn't, Sean, because now you have a story. You have something. Listen, if that craze doesn't happen, I never meet Miguel, who is one of my good friends right now today. Like, we met at the Rosalina launch. Like, that's something we always have. I always have this story of me and Tony going to New York and spending the night over, like me standing on the streets of New York, waiting in line to get like Gold Mario. And like, there's all these little stories of it. And that's the way I look at it. I look at it like, man, I have all these stories about Amiibo and collecting Amiibo and the hunt for Amiibo. The waking up at 2:00 in the morning. Not only that, like all the friends that I have. There's people in our Discord now that came from the Facebook page originally, and those people were all there during the Amiibo craze, you know, and we would all help each other, and we would all be like, hey, this one's up, go get it, and it was like this craziness that we were in a community that was like, we're gonna make sure that we're all taken care of, we're gonna kill it. The fact of like Tony, who has anxiety through the roof, sitting in GameStop for 5 hours so she could pre-order Wave 4. And when she gets up to go order, the whole computer system crashes. And she's waiting in line for this to happen. And it's like, those are stories that you can't take away. You know, like, just are amazing. So I never felt like, you know, like, oh, this is the waste. I thought it was like, dude, I got my stories. I have my life. I love it. So, but I think that, like, and I really...
Plus, you got ultimately, like, I'd say kind of being a bit facetious about it, just trying to say that I understand it. People are a little bit upset from that front. The thing is, like, we have the original ones. You know what I mean? Like, when you go buy them in that, like, because they always changed a little bit.
The boxes, too. The boxes changed. Well, they changed Villager.
Well, sometimes, yeah, exactly.
They changed
Villager
Villager big time. Yeah, because he looked goofy in the original, and then the second one looked more like Villager. So there was all these different changes.
Plus, there's a rare run of Princess Peach where she had like one leg or something like that. Like
there was just always weird stuff that would happen. Like things would get broken and in the bot. Like you'd have ones where like the legs are laying on the ground. It was like, oh, this thing.
There was a
money.
misprint on the Metroid ones too. The later on in the day, the Samus Returns or the Metroid 2 one that they did, there was like a misprint on the back, and it was like, that's the thing that I love.
Yeah,
trying to find trying to spot those things. Yeah.
But here's the thing I believe. I believe that Nintendo is very, I don't want to say arrogant, but I think they're very proud. And when they do something, they expect it to work. And when it doesn't work, I think they feel like, hey, man, we got to prove that it should have worked. And the Animal Crossing amiibo did not sell well. And because they attached it to the wrong game. And I think that they would have loved to have been like, hey, retailers, you're going to put these in your stores because these are going to sell like crazy. And they would have. You think about it. If they would have reissued cards and put out the amiibo figures again, those things would have never been able to stay on the shelves.
You know what they're doing? They're playing us right now, Bobby. They're playing us big time because they're not going to give it to us. We're going to say, man, wouldn't it be great for amiibo? And they're like, nothing's happening. And then boom, they're going to drop it. And we're going to be like, we've been asking for this for years. Like, they're so... The chess game they play with the fan base is actually very, very interesting.
Again, I think that they were in their plans. I think it was probably going to be a month, 2 months after the launch of the game, them to drop it. But I think that, the way things are with the factories closing, it just screwed up the whole works, which is horrible. Which is, that's, it's horrible on a different level, but it's, for businesses, I just, it scares me a little bit for businesses. You think about, like, Sony just dropping Last of Us. Like, we don't know when it's coming out now. It's like,
I know.
Oh, my God. Like, really? That's crazy. But, yeah, listen, it has to happen. It is what it is.
You just look at, like, Benji Sales is talking all about how physical games are taking a huge hit. And that's, aside from, to your point about Animal Crossing, maybe it would have been bigger. Yeah. Had all this stuff not necessary back. Who knows? Butterfly effect kind of thing. Yeah. Bobby, are we Team Ketchup or Team Mayo?
I think I'm Team Sit Out this time.
Oh, no way.
I don't know that I'm going to go back.
It's
Ketchup,
the last one.
What do you mean the last one? The last one was a while ago. They're bringing it back because I think they're trying to. I think it's a good move. I think what they're trying to do is, hey guys, we did this back in the day. Here it is, but we know that they know how many units of the Switch sold. And like we did we had that conversation a couple weeks ago where we talked about like, hey, you're new to the Switch. These are the games you should get, Yep. And I think Nintendo's doing the same thing where they're going, hey, we know we have a whole bunch of new people playing. Let's sell them on some of these great games. Splatoon 2 is an absolute game that if you are new to the Switch, like you should buy that game. It's not your typical shooter. It's a very welcoming shooter to a lot of people, and it's actually the first shooter that I ever played that I actually enjoyed and played for a long period of time, which I never would have jumped into Fortnite if it wasn't for Splatoon. And that's the truth.
Wow.
Because I was afraid of shooters. But once I played Splatoon, I was like, hey man, I could do this. I could I could jump in. Because I tried to Call of Duties when I was younger. I was like, dude, I spawn, I get killed. I spawn, I get killed. And I'm like, this is terrible. I don't want to play like this game anymore. So it made me just leave the whole shooter thing. But Splatoon brought me back in a big bad way.
I think it's going to bring you back. I know we got some time here, and I know you're
when is that exactly? Do you know?
It's next month. It's like the end of May, like I think the 25th.
Oh, I'll definitely. It's Team Ketchup though. Come on.
Yeah,
Mayo's just trash.
Thank you.
Come on.
Well, I can't get over what it looks like. Like now that we're doing this over again, like the off white.
But the colors look really good though. Like on that was the first Splatfest that the two colors contrasting actually looked really good.
Oh, I on the levels. I think it looks. I think it's too real.
Nah, it looks
realistic.
Great. What confused me though is why wouldn't you do mustard and ketchup?
Right.
Like that would be the one that you go like, okay.
That's too American though. They gotta be a little bit more international.
I guess mayo is big around the world.
I guess so.
It's gross. I don't like it.
Well, I don't have quite the hatred that everybody else had. Like I like it on a burger. And you know what? Try it with your fries. Just try it.
No.
Just try it.
No,
I'm
listen.
telling you.
I can't.
Just try it.
Put that stuff near my mouth.
Okay, so who's the most stubborn person in the world now? You're not even gonna try mayo. You're
No,
acknowledging
I've tried.
that everybody else
Listen,
likes
listen.
it. The rest of the world
Listen,
likes it, Bobby.
Here's the thing. I have tried mayo. That's why I don't like it.
Nope, I don't believe it.
I have. I used to eat tuna fish when I was a kid. It's what made me stop eating tuna fish.
Well, then don't eat it with tuna fish. Try it with your fries. I'm not saying mayo itself.
Bro, it's gross. It's disgusting.
Try it with fries.
Stop it. All right, I can't talk to you no more. I gotta go.
All right, whatever.
All right, see you later, buddy.
See you, man.
Thank you for listening to A Cuppa Joe Nintendo, a production of the You, Me, and Capri Patreon. If you like the show, you can support them at patreon.com, You, Me, Capri. A Cuppa Joe Nintendo is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and all of your other podcast services. Be sure to follow Bobby at Nintendo Gurus on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. For everything that Sean does on the internet, follow him on Twitter at Sean Capri. Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. Also, twitch.tv Sean Capri. That is all. Peace out, Preston.